I mean, it's disgusting, it's unhygienic, and like, no. Somebody please toss all these sick people off the plane, get them out of the fucking plane. Greetings and welcome to my official rant series on why things suck. In this video, I will rage on angrily about why sick people on planes should be fucking banned. I mean, come on. Please don't tell me I'm the only one who cringes every time I happen to sit next to a sick, snot-filled, probably flu-infested individual on an 8-hour plane ride with no way to defend myself from this fucking sick fuck. I mean, that's how zombie viruses start in movies, for fuck's sake. Firstly, it makes your flying experience much more miserable than it already is. I mean, unless you're flying business class, first class, enjoy flying, or actually get a free flight from Travel Miles, technically when you're sitting next to a sick person, it makes your experience much more miserable tenfold. Not only do you have to worry about falling sick, but the fact that potential contact with this person is highly likely whenever you get up to stretch your legs or go to use the lavatory, the chances of falling sick is much more high. Not to mention the disgusting snot-filled tissues, dry or wet, left on the trays, usually by the sick f***ing individual. These tissues are great holding areas for all those germs. And it kind of, doesn't help when the recirculation of air happens in the plane, that you eventually breathe in this toxic air as well. Secondly, it could get you sick, obviously, and then ruins your entire trip, vacation, business, trip, conference, whatever. I mean, obviously, if you're sitting next to this person, whether the person's next to you, 2 seats away from you, in front of you, or behind you, the chances of falling sick is much higher. And then it'll ruin your entire trip is ruined when you have to spend extra money to go get medications, to go get checked out. It makes you lethargic, miserable, you have less energy to go about your day. Everything that you've planned, that's, for example, maybe you want to go scuba diving and now you can't because you're sick with the flu or something like that. Basically, your planned trip is entirely destroyed. Now they have to have all these extra worries and concerns with regards to the sickness. It affects your daily performance all because some schmuck was let on board to basically infect the out of their seatmates. I mean, come on, please, somebody please invent a sanitation device or some kind of room where you can store all those sick on the plane. Either that, or maybe like put them in the cargo hold area where there's like a gas fumigating the room every 10 seconds with medicinal products. Next, it could be potentially worse and something much more dangerous. Heard of the Dubai to JFK flight in late 2018? Or what about all the other flights of doom? What about SARS, H1N1, bird flu, all that shit? Huh? And that's why sick people should be f***ing banned from planes until they're well because of all these. I mean, sure, yes, it could just be a benign flu. But to be honest, who the fuck wants to be infected by the flu anyway? Nobody. I mean, airlines rarely exercise their sick passenger rules. And if you don't even know that these exist, then guess what? Probably, you know why? Well, because they never even use it, that's why. They just want to keep your money, and frankly, they don't care about your health and wellness. As long as they're making money, it doesn't really matter. So hence, sick passenger rules, it technically doesn't exist. Next, it is just disgusting sitting next to a sick person. I mean, I can recount from personal experience too. Like, technically, I've been on flights where I was surrounded by sick people everywhere. To my left, to my right, to the front, to the back. It was like the germs family in some sense. So obviously, because all these sick shits were let on board, I became a sick shit myself. I mean, technically, come on, seriously, these people were blowing their noses, they already had red noses, they were leaving all these dried, wet, disgusting tissues in their used cups and on the trays. And then, of course, technically, think about it, like if you use the bathroom, if you had diarrhea and you went to the toilet and you shit yourself, would you leave the toilet unflushed? No, that's disgusting, that's unhygienic, that's inconsiderate. It's same as not flushing the toilet after your use, after diarrhea, stinking out the whole place. You wouldn't do that to someone, right? So why do this? I mean, it's disgusting, it's unhygienic, and no. Somebody please toss all these sick people off the plane, get them out of the fucking plane. There's only one time where, seriously, it's just like a row in front of me, behind me, next to me. Everyone is just sick with the cold or something, and of course, next thing you know, I became sick. In fact, researchers at Emory University in the US have confirmed that if the row in front of you, the row behind you, and 2 seats away from you, people are sick, chances of catching that bug is actually 80%. You know, 80%, there's a really high chance that you'll fall sick. 80%! So you can imagine that incident when I was surrounded by a family of germs and diseases, I did fall sick. 80%. Finally, anything you touch in the plane lavatory has probably already been contaminated by the sickly, and this is not just the current flight. No. There could be sickos in the previous flight, and the previous flight, and the previous flight, and the previous flight, and the previous flight. In fact, the plane lavatories have become breeding grounds for the sick and remnants of the sick. So, by banning, barring, preventing, or telling all those sick people to fuck off before a flight, you are preventing breeding grounds for germs, Ebola, E. coli, vomit, diarrhea, stupidity from manifesting in lavatories, seat cushions, on trays, handlebars, etc. Thus saving all of humanity and yourself from sickly pains if you, let's say, accidentally touch your face after putting the tray back up. So please airlines, exercise your sick passenger policies. And don't let sick people with cold, measles, or even pneumonia, I don't care, board your fucking planes. That or contain them somewhere else away from the healthy people, at least. As usual, this is by no means an exhaustive list, so if you can find any more reasons why sick people on planes should be banned, please go ahead and comment on this video below. Alright, so anger and outrage aside, there are some things that are just beyond our control. Like we can't force the airlines to exercise their sick passenger policies, nor can we petition for a special sanitation fumigation chamber in every plane to store the sick away. So what can we do as individuals to counteract against this atrocity? Now on my screen I have a couple of solutions and potential propositions. Now I've personally used one or two of these propositions, and trust me, they do help to a certain extent. But after a little bit of digging and research, I found a few others which I thought might be useful, or something that I might even consider for myself in the future. Alright, so first things first, asking for a change of seats if applicable. Yes, I'm sure most of you think that this is an asshole move, but you know, people change seats whilst on board the plane all the time. Albeit for different reasons. For example, they want to sit with someone they know. Yeah, this is a very common unspoken phenomenon that you technically can use to your advantage. In fact, several other opinions have shown that you want to opt for the window seat if possible, because you know, when you're by the window seat, there's a less chance of you having contact with other people. But whilst you're sitting in, for example, the middle or the aisle seat, the chances of contact with other people walking by the aisle is much higher. Because the aisle seat headrest is probably the most contaminated of them all. You know, people cough into their hands, they touch their headrest whilst they're getting out of the plane from the previous flight, or you know, they're trying to climb up to grab their bags from the above overhead bins, or maybe just old people who need to hold on to something after coming out from the lavatory, etc. So this technique kind of makes sense, especially if the plane is empty enough to warrant that potential swap. Next, a disposable mask or a jacket that you plan to wash like mad later, hand wipes, and antibacterial cream. Basically anything you are allowed to carry on that creates some form of barrier between you and the sicko. I mean, disposable masks are not just for the sick, but for the sickless. And it's proven that it mechanically does work to prevent the sickos, cough, or sneeze droplets from reaching you, etc. Next thing, if you think it's too weird to wear a disposable mask, is a jacket. You can wear a jacket or use a jacket to cover you physically from accidentally rubbing against the other person's skin or your seatmate's skin. And then of course you're going to have to wash it vigorously later. Now, on another note, you can also bring on hand wipes. I mean, I don't do this personally, you know, because I've used my jacket mainly to block myself and shield myself from the sick shit. But I've heard of and read that people do use them to wipe down the seats, wipe down basically the tray, tables, the buttons they press for the TV, the screens, etc. Now the next one is kind of interesting. I would basically call this the Leonardo DiCap method. In fact, he inspired Meghan Markle, you know, famous for being none other than the royal wife to Prince Harry. DiCap was known for using Neosporin, which is an antibacterial cream, on cotton swab and coats the inside of his nostrils, creating a barrier for the germs, but yet at the same time lubricating the skin inside the nose. Because when you are flying on a plane, there's a change in air pressure and humidity. Your nose and your skin tends to get dry, and that dryness causes the skin well, to crack, and then germs can get in easier. Personally, I've used the jacket method, and now that I know of the DiCaprio, probably would do that too. Alright, so next we have eating a lot of vitamins and beefing up on wellness before the flight. Now, it's common sense here that health and wellness is important. Sometimes you do not have a choice and you are sitting next to a sick on the plane. So what I would recommend is that you stock up on vitamin C's and eat a lot of those before your damn bloody flight. Maintain a healthy lifestyle prior and of course ideally after the flight, and of course make sure that you are well rested before you get onto the plane, because when you have more sleep it keeps your body strong and sane and your vitamins can work better and be more well absorbed, etc. Now, I do this naturally, and I find that on some flights when I'm not surrounded by the germy family and I only had like 1 or 2 sick people sitting next to me, I actually did not fall ill and did not catch that cold, flu or whatever, because technically I exercise a lot and I eat properly. And that really does help if you're not totally surrounded by enemy forces. Lastly, and of course the most important, avoid talking to the sick person or repeated contact with any of the plane's surfaces. Just don't touch the other person, the other sick person's area. Basically, I mean, let's think about it, okay? So, not really much people talk on planes. I just find people who talk on planes bloody annoying. They should be kicked off the plane. Now, if someone is sick, you just want to avoid them like the plague. I mean, who gives a shit about their feelings? Just avoid them at all costs. Don't touch any part of their seat. You know, wait for someone else to use the handlebar for the luggage once you land. And of course, don't rest your arms on the tray table. That's just full of germs right there. You don't want to touch your face by accident. And if you are on the aisle seat, you do not want to help the person next to you who may be sick with their empty cups or trash. Let the cabin attendants do that, and that is their job. They will handle all the trash. They wear gloves, so they can do that. Now, personally, I do my extreme best not to touch anything unnecessarily. Now, for short flights, I avoid going to the lavatory. You know, short flights being probably 5 hours or less. The key is to keep to your own personal space. Avoid skin or any physical contact where possible, and when leaving the plane, go to the washroom immediately to wash your damn hands. That being said, I generally maintain my physique and wellness, and also I use my jacket, which I will wash later, as a physical shield from my sick of a seatmate. Though now that I heard of the antibacterial cream, I think I'll probably try that, because, you know, until sick people can be aborted from planes, prevented from boarding, and learn to be more considerate of other passengers by, say, wearing a bloody mask and not leaving used tissues on the trays, then these will have to do. So there you have it. This is why sick people on planes should be fucking banned. If you are truly intent on not falling sick whilst flying to enjoy your vacation or Thanksgiving dinner or business conference meeting, then don't be ashamed to protect yourself from these sickos sitting next to you, behind you, or in front of you. And in fact, don't be ashamed to go all the way to do that. Because trust me, it doesn't matter if that sick shit thinks you're weird or bizarre or whatever, as long as you come out of the plane alive and well and with a healthy set of lungs and nose ready to take on your trip. I mean, who gives a shit if you wear a mask for an 8-hour flight, sprayed or wiped down the entire seat, tray, remote buttons, or did the Leonardo DiCaprio make my nostril shield of protection? Protect yourself at all costs if you want to enjoy your time at your final destination. Now it's time to think for yourself and ask yourself these questions. Do you think sick passengers should be barred from their flights? Perhaps stored in a different imaginary clinic-like section of the plane? How do you plan to protect yourself on your next flight to wherever? Go on and comment your creative thoughts below. But please, no spam. Let's keep it clean in the comments and free of germs, contaminants, and fungi. Alright, so this is it for now. We've come to the end of this rant. Now, if you had fun, had a good laugh, or learned something new today, then please like this video by poking the like button. And if you like a lot of my videos, then perhaps it actually makes much more sense and it makes things easier for yourself to subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button and ringing the little notification bell for updates. Now then, this is Vicki Lau, signing off.